Hey, what is going on YouTube? This is Robert, and today I am bringing you to the grading wars, I suppose. That'd be one way to phrase it or talk about it in the end, because we have, as of recent times, the massive debate of Tag, Beckett, PSA, CGC, Ace, whatever in the end, versus one another. But yeah, it's this real clash, I suppose, of people's opinions, people's views, what people have used, what is more beneficial for others, and how those feel in general. This has sort of sparked more and more over the past 3 or 4 months. It's gotten to the point where people are constantly being either sarcastic, rude, or however in the end to one another, just purely because of the grading company they use. Now, I will be honest, I have gotten kind of tired of seeing it come up on my timeline. If I click on a couple of tweets in relation to cards or some graded things, I'll then probably within the next week get 10, 20, maybe even 30 tweets in relation to companies and such. And then they keep coming up, and the more you click or click not interested, the more it seems like you are interested when I'm not. I'm tired of the whole debate. And I'm sure other people are very tired of debating it in the end and saying why they use one company or another. And at the end of the day, it's your personal choice. It's your own decision. Whatever you go with, you go with. I feel when it gets to the stage of you've got to defend your choices, it's where you should just stop. Plain and simple. There's no need to debate with people why you're going with something that you want to go with, outside of, oh, it's just my personal preference. Easy done. If it makes you more money, if you think the slabs look better, if it's your personal experience of what you've had with a company and others haven't had the same, is what it is. That's your own decision. But I cannot lie, I'm really tired of seeing Tag. I'm just going to be honest, I really am. I'm tired of people. It's basically the whole thing of when people used to be vegetarian or vegan, and they'd be like, I'm vegetarian, I'm vegan, or I'm gluten-free, or I'm this, I'm on that diet. And that's just what it feels like for people to be saying it to you. It's like they have to tell you that they grade with Tag. And it's like, it's cool. I get it. I respect it because I like their slabs. But please stop saying it like they're the number one and they don't make errors and they don't make mistakes like all of the other companies do. And at that, while all the other companies seemingly are grading more and more cards now, for the last week, I believe it was, Tag are down 5 to 10%. So keep that in mind. Even though I've seen people say, well, if they had the same facilities, if they had the same this, and if they had the same that, it's just not going to happen. If they've graded 5,000 and another company has done 100, another one's done 100, another's done 500,000, they're not going to do that. And also at the same time, if they are heavily reliant on AI, obviously, if they have to scale up, and get to the point where, more AI is necessary, that's going to run them more money, cost them more things, and actually be more of a negative. So, just one of those things to keep in mind. But let's run through some tweets and things, because there's a lot going on. There's so much going on. First and foremost, can we just appreciate this tweet? I'm not gonna lie, I've sent this to several people. It made me laugh so much when I first saw it. So just wanted to put that out there. I just find it hilarious. So yeah. So the recent tweet that started the drama went out yesterday? Near enough? Yeah, yesterday. Well, yeah. Basically what happened is that the person originally got a PSA 6 for their card, okay? It's the Ancient Mew, it got a PSA 6, okay? They were not happy with this PSA 6, so they sent it to Tag. Jacket was feeling hot, I cannot lie. So yeah, they sent it to Tag, and Tag gave them a 949. I believe if it got a 950, that would have been a 10, but I don't exactly know how the whole Tag, thing works in the end. And they've put, imagine that, Mew graded at a 6, was 1 point away from a 10 with Tag. It was only because of censoring that they didn't get it. Let's hear the excuses from diehards. I feel there's not really a need for that, because if we did want to look at things in the details, we can do. And the details that people have picked out and looked at are the fact that there are scratches and markings all over the card. As you can see, they are practically in a large number of places. There are 3 to 5 issues that can be found. I don't know so much about the front, because it's a little bit more difficult with the design to make out what is a problem and what isn't. But under their own description with Tag, they say that there are defects identified of notable grade significance, which is kind of confusing why you would still then give it a 9, a high 9, 1 point off of a 10, which is a high thing in the end if you say the same, that there are scratches and issues. This is clearly the problem as to why PSA gave it a 6, you know, even if the grader themselves weren't exactly like, I can see that. If it got a 7, it's the same sort of thing in the end. It's not deserving of a high grade because of the fact that it's got damage to it. And yes, the corners could be perfect, this could be perfect, everything could look right. But if it's got damage on it, then it's damaged. It's not a perfect card. Now, I would have said if Tag gave it like an 8 or a 7, that would have then shown the fairness, I suppose, in the end. But because it got such a high grade, it's almost like a gotcha, I don't know, moment for PSA. Whereas I feel it's the opposite. By giving it such a high grade, it's a gotcha on a reversal because it's like, well, it's got dents and damage. And they say 1 ding, even though they're like 3 to 5. But yeah, all of this, like, yeah, perfect, great. Like, all of it's good, left to right and top to bottom and this to that and the other. But it's got damage. And yeah, corners are great, nice one. Like, but it's still got damage to it. So, and that is why you will then follow up with tweets like this, where it's like PSA 6 to 9, Tag 1 point away from a 950, and there's data to back it up, explaining why it's a 9. Don't get an opinion on your collectibles, get a true grade. Oh god, okay. Yeah, and this tweet is obviously below, that there are 3 big dings picked out, as well as more minuscule ones that can be seen, and that obviously they've said it's strange. They got a 7 on a card that they submitted beforehand that was the same. You can buy a $1,200 iPhone that could malfunction. Cards get recalled that cost $40,000. One thing I'll stand behind is the belief that technology can improve. People eyeballs cannot. I don't know about that. That's like Hog Rider. Sorry. It's really weird because what's this, how long's Tag been around? Like 15, 16 years, but it's only the last like 4 or 5 years that's really ramped up in like notoriety, I suppose, with people grading. But I just feel that it's just, I also saw that tweet because of rhyme style in the end. So yeah, if I got a bad grade with a company, which I have done several times, then it's on me, I feel, at the end of the day, because I haven't noticed something or seen something. I've had it with Beckett, I've had it with PSA. I had a bad grade with some UK company that I wouldn't really use again, but I had a bad grade and I noticed the issue myself, and it's like, well, that's on me. But with things like this, where it's like you can't detect it unless something's scanned over it, I feel that it should really be picked up on a lot sooner, especially if those scans go online, like, oh, your card's damaged, but we gave it a 9. Like, huh? You gave it a 9, but it's damaged? And I understand people will be fully behind Tag and this and that and the other, but this doesn't really feel like a gotcha moment. This just feels like a real mistake on the other part. From there, we're going to go on to the whole grading wars issue of prices. You know, mine went for more, so mine's better. Mine went for more, so mine's better. So there was a Tag 10 of a Charizard. Went for 38,700. Cool. That's a lot of money. PSA 10, yeah, it went for 55,000 like a month and a bit beforehand. So whilst I do feel that, you know, Tag, amazing, 38, nearly 20,000 above, you know, someone who bought the Tag one would probably think they got a steal, realistically, if they got it for that price, because you could almost crack it and go to PSA with it, get a 10 of that and save yourself a lot of money. But, you know, from there we have the Pikachu slab thing that started a bit more of an argument, I would say, because these 3 Pikachu cards sold for like 62,000 in the end, which I believe are the highest sales across the board for the 3 of them. This is where a bit of like issue, I suppose, began with people arguing over the price points, because whilst that is absolutely insane and they are very high grades for the cards, I feel that there's no need to be like, well, we got the highest sale. Do you know what I mean? I feel that it's better route to go through, instead of saying, well, we're the highest overall, to say instead, look, my 3 cards sold for this. They are the highest sales, in fact, higher than PSA, Beckett, CGC, whatever. Please come to understand that across the board in like a worldwide sort of market, people do appreciate and respect this, you know, and they are buying for this. Instead, people go with the comments of shout out to all the haters. I'm sure there are a large majority of people who are haters in the end, and I get it. But I just don't get why it's like, it's like everyone is enjoying Naruto and you're a Boruto fan and you're trying to tell people that Boruto is better than Naruto. Do you know what I mean? It's you're not going to get your point across when you're arguing a situation that is just an uphill battle. Instead, you can just put this as the frame mind of, oh, my cards sold for X price, they are the highest sale out of anything, use them. You know, people are buying them. That's it. You don't need to be like, shout out to all the haters and this and that. Because at that point, you're just asking for an argument and for people to just be like neck and neck. I then see comments, obviously, where I do feel like it is a little bit harder to sell tag slabs. Even if they do look better than other slabs, I feel that history, you know, and long-standing, I suppose, support is just what people prefer. I've found it myself that sometimes it's more difficult. It's easier for me to personally sell like a Beckett 10 and a 9.5 than some PSA nowadays. I'm not going to lie, it just is. Because a lot of Beckett people just prefer over some PSA. And it completely depends. I feel that if the same cards that I had currently were Beckett, because they're Japanese, I think that they would have sold a lot easier. And if they were English instead of the Japanese that I've got, I feel that they would have sold better with the PSA. But yeah, one thing that I do feel is a bit of a grey area, which sort of skipping over this comment, but it's the overall fact of like if you're being sponsored or you have a referral code or some sort of link to speak about somewhere and to say that you're not biased. I don't think you can say that, I'm not going to lie. There will always be some form of you being biased because there is money involved in the case. I also saw this, which was basically like, should they do different things for the colours? It's basically just Beckett. But yeah, we'll just skip over that. This tweet is from last year. I've had to like search through a lot of tweets in the end. This one's from last year, where basically it was the sports community were like rejecting tag overall because of the price thing. Now, I did see a lot of prices across the board, but nowadays they've sort of leveled off, and a black label Beckett is still far ahead. I will fully say that during the early days of when I was seeing people really heavily push and be sponsored basically by tag to promote it, there's no way that they weren't. Don't, like, you'd be stupid to ignore the fact that all of these people are randomly talking about it, and now only a couple who have affiliate links talk about it constantly. And there were things like, there was a Gengar that sold for like 6,000 and a PSA was 4,000, whereas you fast forward to now, and it's like the PSA is still 4,000, meanwhile the tag's 2,000. And it's like these one-off sales really made people pretend that things were of like a high nature when they just weren't. This tweet then came up, obviously, as well. I mean, personally, I would send to PSA for autograph items. I was thinking of Beckett for it, but I think PSA, I just feel, is just a bit easier in the end for an autograph. I think it looks a bit better. The Beckett like auto thing with the signature is just a bit off for me as an overall. But yeah, I then saw recently, I was trying to find the tweet but couldn't, there was a black label 10 as well that sold in the recent Charizard for like tens of thousands, whereas the PSA and the tag and such is worth like 1,000. So there is a different level to all of these things, but I feel that it's just so crazy currently. Like, genuinely, personally for me, I will grade with whomever, you know, that's it. I will probably be sending, when I do send, to Beckett next, but I do also have some signature things that I'd like to send to PSA. I have no intention, or I'm not inclined in the end to go with any other company, just because of the fact that I've dealt with those two before. I've dealt with others in the UK before. They've been fine, but I just prefer those two. That's it. I will admit the wait time is not fun. I sent in a slab to be reslabbed and it took like 3.5 months with PSA. I didn't have to spend anything because the person refunded me like my whole purchase, so that just went back into the card itself. But still, it was a long time to wait. And yes, my last grading experience was not perfect. I got cooked. But that's just what happens sometimes. You know, you win some, you lose some. It is what it is. I feel that people who are very much so pushing it in your face of like, look at this, you need this, there's this. Just chill out, please. It's such a boring situation and argument, I feel, to always have to justify yourself in any situation. If you've got to justify the reason why you are grading with a company, there's a problem already. If you say, oh, I'm sending my 30 cards off to Beckett, cool, done. You're sending your cards off to Beckett because of the fact that I don't know. Shut up. You know, I'm sending my 15 cards off to Tag. Okay, cool. And that's... No, shut. No, please. It's so boring when people have to throw in these sly comments and these digs and these this and this that. Say you're grading with Tag. Cool. I'm grading with Tag because I'd like to see how the AI works and whether it is better than what my eye can see. Brilliant. The thing is that it's not fully AI because people still have to look over things. And if someone has to look over this card and they still deem that as perfect for the Mew, to err is human. There will always be issues with this. Things cannot be fully automated because of the fact that you could go online, and if Tag was like fully AI, could you imagine me going online and being like, yeah, my grade got a 7, I'm not happy with this. And they'd be like, oh, we're sorry to hear that. Why are you upset with it? Oh, because a similar card got a 10, so shouldn't my card be a 10? And then the AI being like, you're right, it should be a 10. Let's get that changed for you. Do you know what I mean? How insane that would be? Like, I feel that that's something that people aren't talking about with the recent AI situations and problems, that if things went fully automated, can you not think of the horrors of being like, actually, according to your scale, my thing should actually be a 970 and not a 969. Then be like, oh yes, you're right. It shouldn't be this. It should be this. Or if you went on and told them that someone's card, had issues with it, so it shouldn't get that grade, and then they get an email saying, your card has been updated, please send it to us so we can adjust it. Do you know what I mean? Like, overall, I feel that the whole grading wars is a very stupid situation and area currently, because people will grade with whatever they'll grade with. At the end of the day, people will grade with what's cheaper to sell on Whatnot and to flip and such, and whatever's easiest on there. They will still grade in massive bulk of like 500 cards, sell them off for 30 to 40 on Whatnot to people and make a profit because that's just what they're like. And the same goes for selling them. People will buy junk cards off of eBay and such in mass or en masse, just because of the fact that they can flip them so easy to people because it's got PSA behind it, it's got this behind it, And maybe at some point I will check out Tag. I will find a card that I really like, that I just want to send, maybe like even just 2 or 3 cards, and I will send them in and I will see what my experience is like. I'll be honest, if I get 9s, I'll probably sell the cards because I just want 10s in my personal at this point for big cards that I will submit or want to submit. And a big card, I'd say, across like the board, is probably anything above like $50 or £50 is starting to be like a bigger card realistically. If you imagine how many are below that, anything reaching up to that point, because I've got some Japanese cards that are like 150, 200, I feel that those are substantial realistically. But yeah, personal opinion, PSA takes a while. Beckett, if you're doing it yourself, can take a while, but also is very easy if you're using a third party, because I've done both methods. Can be a bit hit and miss. I feel that doing it yourself is more expensive but more reassuring because you know what you've sent, whereas doing it with a middleman sort of takes the pressure off of any customs and issues and problems. I haven't done Ace, but I have done, I can't think of whatever the other UK one is, but there's another one that I did like a Harry Potter card with, I did a Dumbledore card with, and yeah, that's that. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below because, yeah, I just do find it funny. I can't lie. If you're a diehard for any company, let me know why, And if you're just going to be like, please just don't. I don't care, genuinely. Like, honestly, you could type like 1,000-word thing to me. I would not care at all because it's just such a boring opinion of things to hear. So, but yeah, that is going to cover it from me. As always, I do hope that you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you all next time. Peace.